Well, when I was making those vases, I decided to build myself one of these steady rests. Well, first I was gonna just buy one, but to buy a steady rest that fits my Powermatic lathe was like $400 or $500, and I've gotten by without one, so I thought, hey, I'll just make one. So I watched some videos, watched some other people how they made them, and then I was too lazy, kind of came up with what I wanted to do real quick and dirty. So if you're going to make one of these steady rests, you might learn a few things of what not to do when you build one. So all of these tracks here, these balls, these wheels, move. And I want you to see these parts. This is just T-track parts you can get off of Amazon or Woodcraft or Rockler. And you can get hex nuts, or you can get these. I really like these. I don't know what they're called. PowerTech sells them pretty cheap, but those just slide right in there like that. And then on the other side of the board, you would screw a knob on, and there's different types of knobs, but that's how that would work. And so that T-track's in there, and then when you get it where you want it, you just tighten it down. So I've seen several that were, you have one coming this way, one coming this way, and one coming down. And most people make them in a circle. Well, the circle really doesn't matter. They made about a plywood and things, and I didn't really want to do that. So I'll show you a few videos. All I did was just take some scrap boards I had and screw them or brad nail them together. Now I did take to stiffen it up, I just put a piece of plywood here and put a couple screws in. So that's pretty stiff. What I did on the bottom, a lot of people don't have that locked in too well, but I just used a board, and you can put it in down through your lathe and then turn it, and that'll lock it in. So if I put that down there and then I slightly turn that, now I can tighten that down. Right, like that. And now that's nice and, pretty sturdy, okay? You can tighten it down pretty good. There you go. Now, these wheels are sold in packs of 4. And I thought, well, if I'm getting 4 wheels, 4 supports is better than 3. So 3 in a triangle, I thought, 4 is better than 3. And I think it is better in that regard. So these can slide up. But I want to show you, if you do this method that I did, maybe I should slide this all the way back here. Let's put something in here, just so you can see it. There we go. So now you can tighten this down, right, like that. This will come all the way down. This comes in. This comes in. And that comes up. Okay, so that will work. Okay, that works pretty good. Now, if you want to use this steady rest for something that's smaller than this, the way I did it, I've got a problem. So I'm going to loosen this just so you can see it. And I don't think it'll be a problem very, very often for me, but it is a problem. So if I bring all these up, you can't bring all 4 of these together all the way to where it's real tiny, like the size of a pencil. What will happen is these wheels start rubbing, because these 2 wheels are kind of contacting each other right here if you push these in anymore. But you could offset them with some nuts, bolts, and make this to where they wouldn't hit. But that's the disadvantage, is that you can't bring these all the way in. So if you do the 4 roller one, just be aware, you could mount them like that. You could just put you a bracket right here and just mount these at an angle on both sides. And then this one would still stay the same. This one would work the way it is, and then you could just mount them like this. So you don't need to make some kind of circle. This square thing's fine. I don't really see that it's an issue. If you want to do something that's a little simpler than what maybe some of the other videos have shown, because I didn't have any spare plywood hanging around, and I really didn't want to cut a circle and glue plywood together. Got all this off Amazon. I can put the links in the video so that if you want to build one of these, you can come up with your own design. This is not rocket science. I did use this on the vase, and this really does hold it, gives you the extra support that you might need. Especially, I think I will really enjoy using it if I'm doing something that's really long, a long, thin spindle type turning. I think this will add that support to just get rid of that little bit of vibration that the flex of the wood causes. So should be pretty helpful. So I did have questions on how to do this. So what I did was I put a small washer on top of the wheel, just as a buffer, so that ball bearing could spin. And then I put another washer. You can see that washer, clean it off. You can see how the washer doesn't touch the outside. So it's a small washer I found at Menards or somewhere. So you have to get one that's a smaller diameter. And then I used a nylon nut so that I didn't have to double nut it and it won't come loose with the nylon nut. So that's how I assembled those. And so that should be helpful for you. I did put a square on these and tried to get these straight, and then just put a couple brad nails in and maybe a dab of wood glue to hold them so that these kind of slide so that they don't move, you know, when they're out here locked in. There's just some ideas. Maybe you can send me a link if you found one that's really easy to build, that's maybe the other viewers and subscribers would benefit from. Please feel free to share. If you have a small lathe, you can get one of these for, you know, less than $100 it looked like, but for a larger lathe, I thought $400 to $500 was a little steep, unless it's something I'm going to use all the time, which I don't think I will. Hope this helps. Thanks a lot. So here I have the steady rest. I have that vase mounted inside, just so you can see, and here I'm going to open. I think I had that steady rest attached on there when I drilled the holes, so it just kind of helped steady it as I drilled with the Forstner bit. But now I'm widening the mouth here because I just kind of wanted that look on this vase. So this is probably a foot away from the chuck. It's a fairly tall vase, so kind of shows how well it holds it. Good use case for it. Here I'm going to show how I mounted those wheels. I try to tell you, but here's those washers. So put one of those on and then put another one in. I'm going to try to show you how it's smaller. These are those nylon nuts. I was hoping I would show you there where it was smaller than the bushing in there. I'm just tightening this down. You don't want to tighten this like super, super tight, but you want it fairly snug. You don't need this to like be freewheeling, just as long as it moves, you know, and it's not going to lock up, and that moves just fine. Here I am real quick. I'm going to do this in like 2 times speed, just mounting how I made this. So I just took some 1x pine that I had left over from a recent project up in my, as a new room I made with my bathroom. You're probably not going to see that project because I didn't film it, but I didn't really want to go buy a sheet of plywood just to make this small little project. So this 1x will work just fine. Here I am just putting some screws in, attaching things with screws. I used a little wood glue in some places. I used the square there just to make sure it was kind of squared up when I drill it in. I didn't show it on the camera, just want to make it fast, but I pre-drilled all these holes so nothing would split. Here I am just adding a little extra support by putting some screws in this way. And then there I am just screwing in that small piece of 1/4-inch plywood. And this keeps it from tilting like towards the camera here. And I put a square on there to make sure that was secure. Still, again, putting in that piece of plywood on the other side. So I kind of winged this. Here I had to put a hole in. I just chiseled it out after I drilled it with some drill bit. And that allows that piece in the middle to slide down. Put a piece of 1x up and down here, and then put a
square on it so that that's all mounted, and put some clamps, and then I just put I put some glue there. I don't think I showed it. And then I put a couple brad nails, or I think I use crown staples, short crown staples. They hold really good. They kind of keep it from splitting. And then once I got it mounted, I could just cut this off with a handsaw real quick. That makes sure that those are square with each other. Not sure how critical that is, but you might as well go ahead and make it square. And then now that you have that in, you just put it up flush against the piece of channel T-track, nice and snug, and so, but let it slide. You want it to have some support. Now, when I did the side ones, I put the T-channel inside between the centers here. That way, it's going to be perfect, at the perfect height on both. And then I did the same process. Here's your hardware I used. That's an example of the hardware I used. I'll try to leave a link in the video, kind of showing how that goes in. It's really simple. The hardware is really nice. You can use that T-track hardware for a lot of jigs, so not just useful for making a steady rest, but all kinds of jigs for normal woodworking. If you got any questions about any of this, just let me know. I'll try to answer it. I did cut this T-track shorter there later just to add a little more clearance, but here's a picture of it. Works out great. Thanks a lot.